Hey, real quick, what I need you to do out there, if you already logged on, I'm sure a few people coming in late, but what I need you to do is Facebook somebody, text somebody, tweet somebody, put a message in the bottle, throw it in the ocean, do whatever you need to do, but let somebody know that Starving the System is on today, right now at 7 o'clock, and that the show is probably going to be our last installment of this particular topic, which is debt elimination. And if you have not seen the previous shows, then after this show, you definitely need to go back and find out how to get out some of this debt that you under, that we're under, that I'm under. It's crazy. So look, do that for me. Let people know the show is on. Go back to the archive shows, and we're not going to waste a lot of time. We want to jump right into it. So hey, what you got for us? Last week or the week before, the last episode, we talked about a few things, how to get out of some credit card debt. We talked about some papers to file, some what would you call them? What's those papers called? When you, it's not an act, it's not a motion. What is it?
Petition.
I don't. Anyway, I'm gonna let you do all the teeth. I don't know none of this. Glad you're with us, Miss Be Pure, today. So anyway, man, where we gonna start at?
Well, what I want to talk about today is something that I think is a real big problem in my business that I have to contend with on a daily basis, and that is getting tricked by a creditor. Let's use the word alleged creditor, because none of these bankers, MasterCard, Visa, American Express, Superior Court of Georgia, United States District Court, none of these people are actual creditors.
Hold up. I just thought about this, and we don't got to go into it.
Yeah, I'm putting them on blast.
I'm talking about Monroe, the city of Monroe. Did you see it on the news?
No, I didn't see what happened.
The city of Monroe, there's a judge last year. Al, did you know about this, about the judge in Monroe?
Yeah.
Last year, this judge gave $1 million worth of fines for warnings. For traffic warnings. People that I got failure to yield, failure to appear. I go in front of him, the judge on camera saying, we knock these down to warnings and just have you pay the fine. And it doesn't go on your record.
Right.
That's the most illegal foolish. Now they going back because a guy actually, he did it, and then he realized that that's fraud. They can't make me pay for a warning.
I remember one time I was in a court, and a judge, and they have us all packed in the courtroom, especially around Christmas time. Everybody's getting a ticket. And he said, we're having the blue light special today. Whoever pleads guilty and just goes downstairs and pays, it won't go on your record. And you come before the judge, and they send an officer with you to walk down with you while you paid your fine. Whoever wants to step forward and pay. And that's what's going on in the country. I mean, the United States is bankrupt. They're bankrupt. So everything in our society is geared around debt collection, even if it's not recognizable to you. I.e. traffic tickets. Traffic tickets are a form of a debt collection. When you're on TV, and I've said this on an earlier installment, the country's $14 trillion in debt. So they've come up with all these creative ways of extracting your labor, your blood, sweat, and tears from you. And what I mean by that is this. Let's say you get a traffic ticket and you work all week. Let's say you work all week. And at the end of the week, you make $500. All right. So then the police pulls you over, whoop, and writes your ticket. And the ticket is $250. And you worked 40 hours that week. Didn't the state just take 20 hours of your labor from you?
With taxes, right?
That's right. Not to mention that you're taxed when you get gas, you're taxed when you get groceries, you're taxed when you buy, go to the movies, you're taxed with just about any activity you engage in with the system. So how much of your money is really your money? Why are we being taxed like this? Why are the police arresting you for any little infraction? Why do you have to go to jail for a traffic ticket because you don't have a driver's license or something like that? Why are these things occurring? Well, what it is we're in a debt-based society. And if you look in the Bible, if you are a debtor, you are a slave. And the country is in bankruptcy, and it is now owned by foreign interests. They hide that fact. The Federal Reserve is a foreign entity. It's a private bank. The IRS as well. They're a collection agent for the Federal Reserve, which both fall under the International Monetary Fund, which is include some of the most richest and powerful people in the world privately, not publicly. Bill Gates and all those boys might be the richest people publicly. But privately, you got some trillionaires out there. Don't sleep. But what's happening is that they are extracting our labor, our energy from us, just like in the movie The Matrix, because there is no money. So what you have to realize is that you are on a board game, like Monopoly. You know, like you have the tokens, and they gave you a token. It's called a straw man. You know, you go around the board, you get deeds, you get paper money. You know, you can go to jail. You got the utilities. It's a board game that they're playing with you. So in order to win the game, you got to know the rules of the game. And the rules of the game are that ignorance of the law is no excuse, and he who will be fooled, let him be fooled. That's an old Roman maxim of law, in case you don't know. So in other words, if you allow yourself to get fooled, it's okay. The rules of the game allow that. The judge knows it. Your prosecutor knows it. Your attorney knows it. And these attorneys, they know all of this stuff, you know, and they think they're better than a lot of you. Some of them probably watching this show and saying, wow, what is this guy talking about? Some of them probably don't even know what I'm talking about. But a lot of them do. They think, you know, you hear this word attorney, you can kind of get a lot of credence to an attorney and so forth.
Attorney.
Not a lawyer. An attorney. There's a distinct difference. But what these individual entities are doing is they're tricking you. All right? Now, early in installments, I told everybody to go and check out a law on the books. It's called House Joint Resolution 192 of June 5th, 1933. That's been codified in federal law under Title 31, which is money and finance, under 5118D2. All right, that's the rescission of the gold clause. In other words, now currency is not backed by gold anymore. It's now backed by labor. Now, because of this fact, they're after your labor. All right, and they got to hide this fact that there isn't any money. So when somebody comes at you and say, hey, you owe us $1,200 on a mortgage. Well, if there isn't any money, how did you loan me some money to buy the house?
Exactly.
If there is no money, how did you loan me the money to buy the car? Ask your banker this in your mortgage when you're at the closing table. Say, excuse me, where is the money coming from that you're about to loan me? And can I get that in cash? See if you can get the money in cash and see what happens. So, you know, if you're loaning me money, can I please get that in cash? You never see any money. You know, they give you some paperwork, you fill out some paperwork, next thing you know, you drive off with the car, or you fill out some paperwork, next thing you know, they hand you the keys to the house. But you never really see any money. Right.
It's not like the bank took some gold and gave it to the car people gave some gold to the bank, or nobody really exchanged no.
Nada. Okay. You didn't do nothing. Nothing. You know, so they didn't give you anything. So if you didn't get anything, you don't owe anything. Nothing from nothing leaves what?
Eddie Murphy said it best.
Nothing. All right. But they're going to trick you. And the reason they're going to trick you is because you are afraid. You are scary. You don't have any backbone. You are afraid of your public servants. They are public servants. They're here to serve you. You gave them a job. You pay their salary. You hear it every day on TV. My taxes pay your salary. You go down to the courthouse and you let one of those clerks talk to you like you're a little child. They do it.
They do it. They done to me. I've been talked to like.
Go down and they talk to you like a child.
I've been coerced and threatened and been afraid at the court.
But I'm going to teach everybody the secret magic word. There's a magic word.
Okay. Is it please?
No, it's not please.
Okay. I'm sorry.
What is your name?
That's it?
That's pretty much it. Because I'm going to tell you, public servants, you know, they'll be maybe doing something. You say, what is your name? Because there could be something comes out after that, like, do you have a bond?
Yeah, we talked about that before, too.
Did you take an oath of office? Those two questions are powerful questions.
Might want to write that down.
You have to write it down.
What is your name? Do you have a bond?
You have to accept their oath of office and bond. You haven't accepted it. They have an oath of office and bond on file with the risk management department of every municipality. You need to get on the internet. You need to find out where your risk management department is for your municipality. Cobb County has one. Fulton County has one. Gwinnett County has one. Every county has a risk management department. It's like an insurance agency. And what this is for is because if one of your public servants gets out of line and crosses the line and does something he ain't supposed to do, talks to you crazy, tells you to shut up and sit down, violating your First Amendment right of freedom of speech, or just how they talk to you or anything like that,
right,
you can go to down to risk management and file a claim and get a check, or put a lien against their bond and make them uninsurable for public service. In other words, they're fired.
You can hire and fire.
That's right. You are the employer. They work for you.
They're your servants.
They're servants. They work for you, but you don't act like that. You don't act like a person who's worthy of being served. You act like sheeple. You're afraid. They send you a letter in the mail and you're ready to run. They call you on the phone and you start hiding. You got to learn how to assert yourself. You have to understand, first of all, that all the money is coming from you. All the money in this country is being generated by signature. So let's just say you went on the internet and you looked up House Joint Resolution 192 of June 5th, 1933. All right. And you found out that, wow, I have a right to, discharge debt.
Because that's what it says.
That's
right
what it
there.
says. I don't have to pay for all these credit cards, this house note, this car note, anything. I can have a right to eliminate my debt and live a carefree life the way God intended me, so I can go out in the world and discover what my purpose is in the world, instead of spending a third of my life driving up and down the expressway, going to a job, clocking in, doing something I don't want to do, and somebody talking to me crazy. You can do that,
Just have to know how.
You got to know how. But you can't let them trick you. Because what will happen is they'll come to you and they'll say things. Let me give you a little example. Let's say you have a mortgage and Bank of America. You're going to use Bank of America for example.
They're the biggest.
And you send them a letter in the mail where you put a little package. You come see me and I help you, and we put together a little package, and it went off to Bank of America. And we're letting them know that, we have rights and we're asserting those rights, and we want you to zero out this account and, send me the title to my home. So what do you think Bank of America is going to do?
I don't know what they're going to do. I know they're going to probably say it first.
They're going to buck.
Right, right.
They're going to buck, boy. Like,
you
what?
crazy?
You crazy?
You owe a said amount of dollars.
Right. But here's the thing. Bank of America knows about House Joint Resolution 192 of June 5th, 1933 also. They have an entire department set up to handle people like you.
Right.
All right? So when you call them, they're going to send you a letter. We just got this from you, and this is no good, and it's illegal and unlawful, and if you send us anything like this again, there could be repercussions and ramifications for your actions. If you'll notice in the letter, nobody signs it. There's not one stick of law supporting anything that they just said. You don't even know. They said, sincerely, the Loss Mitigation Department.
Who is that?
And you call me up and you start crying. Joe, it didn't work.
It didn't work. It
didn't work.
They still owe me.
Now, if they really want to get nasty, because sometimes we send them letters in the mail threatening them to take their bond, they may pay you a visit at your house.
I've heard of it.
They'll come to the house. It's in a real estate agent to the house. I don't like real estate agents either. Now, when it comes to foreclosures, they're real nasty. People don't know this. They're stealing too. And they're going to come and they're going to knock on your door and say, Fannie Mae now owns this property. Fannie Mae now owns the property. You tell them to get off your property or you will have them arrested for criminal trespass charges. That's what you do. Okay? All right? You don't waste any time. All right? I'm going to arrest you for criminal trespass charges if you don't get off my property now. Because their weapons of choice is fear and intimidation. Everything they do. But what you have to start looking into the substance of what they are saying. You have to start looking and seeing if what they're saying is supported by law. Is there some OCGA symbols, behind what they just told you? Is there some type of law written somewhere? Because if somebody writes you a letter threatening you, telling you you bet not do what they're not going to do, because let me tell you something. The law makes it incumbent upon banks and financial institutions to honor your request for discharge of the debt. But see, what they do is, how they fool you is they do something called, they get you to recontract with them. And how they get you to recontract with them is, people need to know about contracts, first of all. How you do contracts is they'll do a contract with you, first of all. You have verbal contracts and written contracts. All right? You could get in a contract verbally that will destroy everything that you just did. You could be talking to these people, say, Just send them a letter, discharge the debt, send them a negotiable instrument or whatever. And then, they call you on the phone and say, look, we're not going to accept that. And you on the phone, you say, oh, okay. And they say, hold on just a minute. We're recording this phone call. This is a debt collector. Anything you say will be held to collect the debt. Okay, now what is your name? Joe Sucker. Okay, and and you just go right into the trap like a sheep.
Let me ask you this. This is a question I have, and shout out to Erica. I think you're new on the chat line, Peter and Kahir. So let me ask you this, man. All right, is this a little bit different than how the IRS does their thing? Because like from what I know about, and I don't know much, but if you do the right procedures, the step-by-step correct procedures, and say, I'm no longer volunteering my money to the IRS. I was coerced in the past. I didn't understand the law. Now I understand. And you put in all the right paperwork. Will they, because it could be me not understanding, will they still come? Can you still face charges? Still be locked? Will you still be locked up? Is there people falsely being locked up?
Everyone is falsely being locked up.
Okay, well, yeah, first of all, you know that much.
But let me just, go ahead.
Because my question was going to be is, have you, this is what you do for, this is your business.
Right.
People have a house in foreclosure, they come to you, you get their house back and give them their deed.
Right.
Have you ran across times where you've done the right things and they still strong arm people and take the land and kick them out the house or whatever? Yeah,
you have some very vicious thieves out there.
How often, like as far as, I don't know if it would be a success rate, but how often does that happen? Say you got 4 homes back last month.
Right.
How many of those did they end up staying there? You know what I'm saying? Or did the bank come back and get them? Or, how often, a percentage rate do you think that often that happens?
Well, it doesn't happen very often. It's a very low percentage of creditors just strong arming you. And you will have some very vicious and malicious creditors out there who will attempt to strong arm an individual to actually steal, their property.
Right.
There are some. They usually come in the guise of IRS will do it, but I'm gonna speak on the IRS in a few minutes. I don't have anything bad to say about the IRS. The IRS can be your best friend or your worst enemy. All right, let me say that about them first. But you do have some law firms out there that have very bad reputations and have nasty attitudes about ignoring the law. And you have to understand is that they get paid commissions off foreclosures, and some of them are desperate and they need to get paid, and they're just going to foreclose you at any cost. They're going to send somebody out to your house to see who's staying there because they're going to gauge you. They're going to say, okay, well, this person right here, we can foreclose on them because they don't know what to do. They don't know anything. You don't know the law. If you don't believe me, just go down to Fulton County Courthouse on a Tuesday or Thursday and look at the 100 of people in there getting foreclosed on, and they treat everybody like sheep. Okay, you 100 people come out in the hall. Okay, we're going to give you 7 days to move, but we're going to be good to you. We're going to give you an extra 3 days to get out of your house, or we're coming to kick you out on the street. All right? Everybody got it? Good.
No.
Every week. All right? Hundreds of people getting kicked out on the street, all because they don't know the right words to say. These people are stealing your home, all right? Your public servants are stealing your home, and they are fooling you into doing this, and they're using your fear to do it. Fear stands for false evidence appearing real, and fear is directly proportionate to the amount of knowledge that you have. The less knowledge that you have, the more fearful you're going to be. You have to arm yourself with knowledge. You have to turn off the television. You have to turn off the radio, and you have to start reading. There are a lot of YouTube videos. There are a lot of audios that you can learn.
His Facebook page has a lot of
and that's the problem. People, Thomas Jefferson said it best. He says, those who wish to be both ignorant and free are hoping for something that never has been and never will be. Freedom and ignorance do not go hand in hand. They don't. Ignorance equals slavery. It is not cool to be stupid.
And just to see that fear thing, man, I know I might have said this maybe 2 or 3 times on the camera before, but when I went in court for that traffic ticket and I was starting to learn how to, represent myself properly in court, I had the right stuff, but the judge put 2 officers beside me, got real close to me, and I got scared and I panicked.
And they'll do that.
And I got scared and he said, look, you need to go pay this fine. Boom. I never pleaded or nothing. And I went and paid it because I was scared. Now, the next time I went there, after I knew what was up, they couldn't do the same thing to me because I really I believed what I knew.
Right.
I wasn't sure.
Right.
I talked to Joseph Jones. He told me a few things. I read a few things, but it's only been a couple months. All these years of seeing people get locked up for stuff, you know,
right.
It just don't happen overnight. You just
right.
don't.
It does.
It's hard to really. You got to go out there, like you said you got to check Introduction to Sovereign on our first couple of shows, because you said a lot of things that is going to apply for you trying to eliminate your debt. It's the
right.
same principles going to apply about you not having fear,
right.
about you understanding and standing firm in what you believe in. So I just had to just...
You're right. You're absolutely 100% right. But let me just say this about the court thing. When you go into a courtroom, you always have to be on the record. These judges are rolling over you because you're not on the record. There's no court reporter over there typing.
$25?
It can be $42 an hour here in Georgia, but they will, they don't charge the whole amount if you don't, prorate it. If you only do 30 minutes, it's $20.
Get your own court reporter. He told you that before.
Exactly. Now you need to have a court reporter. Why do you need a court reporter? Because you need a record. See, the judge is rolling over you. The attorneys are rolling over you. People are stealing, lying to you, and doing all these different things because you can't run and go tell nobody. You can only go run and tell somebody if you got a record. You go to appellate court, the first thing they're going to ask you, did you get a transcript? All right. Once you get a transcript, the judge will magically start being more respectful to you. All right. Because when next time when you ask to be on the record, and they don't want you to be on the record, you start asking me, well, you don't have court reporters here. You can't, that's a lie. You have a right to have a court reporter. All right. Bring 2 witnesses with you if they don't want you to be on a court reporter. We got phones now. Take pictures. But the thing is that the reason they put those officers next to you is they're trying to intimidate you, but that intimidation is not going to show up on the record. So you may say something and the appellate court won't be able to know that the reason is you said what you said or reacted the way you reacted is because you were being intimidated. And that's why you told me
when I brought this up on the first show, you said you should have said, and it was off camera. You said you should have said, for the record, judge, for the record, or whoever you call them,
right?
For the record, why these 2 men right here beside me? I feel like I'm being threatened and coerced. So for the record, could you tell me why you placed them beside me?
Why are these officers standing next to me? Aren't we just in a traffic court? They're looking like they're going to beat me up any minute now. I'm nervous. I'm afraid.
And magically they will go sit down.
That's right. Could you please tell them? Would you officers please step back some? Step back. And when you're behind that bench, that bar, when you walk in the courtroom, they got a bar. Mm-hmm. All right, that little part. If you're behind that, talk behind that. Because when you walk past that, you become into their jurisdiction. But when you stand behind that, a judge might say, will you please escort him to the front? And the officer might come up to escort you. They'll be mean mugging you. They got the thing, the guns and everything. Public servants, remember that. And they say, come on up to the front. First thing out of your mouth, you put your hands on me, you're going to prison. And he will not touch you.
You still have to come to the front?
He is no, you don't.
Okay.
You say what you need to say, and we have to get into another installment of what you need to say and so forth. But he's a public servant. You can even ask the judges he's a public servant. He's a public servant. You don't believe me? Go down to the probate office of your county courthouse and pull his oath of office and bond, or go down to the Secretary of State and pull his oath of office and bond and read it. He is a public servant. He took an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America. He can't tell you to shut up and sit down. He works for you.
And I asked the judge, I said, I remember the questions, but I didn't say for the record. I said, excuse me, I said my honor instead of your honor.
Right.
I said, excuse me, are you under oath right now? He said, nope.
They're never under oath because they operate off presumptions, assumptions, and color.
And I was too scared to go any further. I didn't know what to say. I was so shocked that he said no.
Okay, well, it's fine. It doesn't matter. He's not there testifying. But how you get him to testify on oath, you ask him questions. Because before a proceeding starts, you might go into a courtroom and the judge say, okay, we're here, blah, blah, blah. Before you start, do you understand the charges being lodged against you? And all y'all out there, yeah. You don't know what's going on. The answer to that question is always no. I don't know. I don't understand. No, I don't know what's going on. Mr. Jones, you're being charged with 3 traffic violations. You were speeding at 210 miles an hour. You had 5 AK-47s and 50 pounds of dope in the backseat of the car. How do you plead? No, I don't understand what's going on. I don't know. Well, what is it you don't understand, Mr. Jones? And this is where you got to know the Constitution. Under the Sixth Amendment, you have the right to know the nature and cause of an action. They always like to tell you the cause of the action, but they don't ever want to tell you the nature of the action. So you have to ask them, is this a civil or criminal action? And they're always going to tell you criminal. But what you out there in TV land don't know is that there are different types of criminal actions. You have criminal actions that are civil, all right? And you have criminal actions that fall under the common law, which would be under either Article 1 or Article 3. You need to get a Black's Law Dictionary to look this up. You have an Article 1 court and an Article 3 court. You're coming into the court and you don't even know what kind of court you're in. It's like going in playing basketball and trying to play it on a tennis court.
No, I've heard
they're both courts.
I've heard a lawyer say on the radio station, and I'm not going to broadcast, to say that lawyers and judges don't use the Black's Law Dictionary.
I don't think they use anything. I haven't seen, they go in there and negotiating, please.
So Black's Law Dictionary is the law, though.
Well, Black's Law Dictionary, because you have to understand, these are word games, all right? And the words in the legal arena are very different from the words that you use in everyday parlance. Like I said, the word person. It does not mean a person is a corporation, trust, partnership, sole proprietorship. These are the different definitions. There's 7 different types of persons. And on the street, we use that word and we think that we're talking about another human being. But in the legal realm, you could be talking about Microsoft. So you have to know what these words mean. So when you go and look in a Black's Law Dictionary, it's going to open your eyes, and you really may want to use a Bouvier or a Duhams. You should get all 3 of them.
What is those?
These are different. It's like a Webster's and Oxford. You got different types of dictionaries.
It's a certain type of okay.
Yeah, and then you got different.
Could you repeat that one more time?
You got a Bouvier. You got Blacks, and you got a Duhams. All right,
so heard of those two. Besides, I never heard of those.
These are other types of dictionaries, and they don't want you sometimes reading those other dictionaries because there's a lot of remedies that are available in those dictionaries, and they always have a tendency to direct us to places where they think that, let's still give them this right here, and kind of lead us off on rabbit trails.
Right.
All right. The one thing that you need to remember is that they will never ever violate the golden rule in the universe, and that is that you have free will. And what they have to do to violate your free will is they will trick you, they will coerce you, they will threaten you, they will use any tool at their disposal. But at the end of the day, they need your voluntary consent. All right? And that is how they trick you. They trick you because you don't know your rights and you don't know who you are under God. And you've left that alone and you're looked at as a heathen, because you give lip service to the creator of the boundless universe, but it's not exercised every day in your everyday practice. This is what you have to get back to. The judge is a priest. He has on a robe, just like your preacher.
Ecclesiastical.
You swear on the Bible. You can't even start a legal proceeding with an affidavit. That's swearing.
But they say there's a separation from church and... We ain't even going to get into that.
We don't want to get into that. There's no separation from church and state. All the churches have 501(c)(3)s, okay? You're under the state.
So
you're under the state.
Look, man, that was a great way to end this episode, this series of Dead Elimination. This is an ongoing process. We're gonna have you back.
This ain't the last.
No, this ain't the last time you're gonna see Mr. Joseph Jones. And if you need to contact him, his contact information is on the website. You can look under contacts, or is it? I don't know what the name is. I don't see the website anymore, but it's under there where the people at. Guests, previous guests, check them out. You can go to Facebook. You can check them out. Thank you, Kahir. Appreciate it, man. And a new, was that Errol Williams from in the UK? All right. Appreciate y'all.
From the UK?
Yes, sir.
UK? Wow.
Yes, sir. Hey, man. On the internet. So, look, we definitely appreciate it, man. I appreciate you, man. I know it may be a couple months or a couple weeks.
Months, just call me up. You know what I'm saying?
Man, you so busy, man. You can't talk to this guy. You got to be talking. Whatever that stuff that don't exist, you got to have it to talk to this guy. No, I'm just kidding, man. But seriously, tell people about the show today, man. This is really serious. If more of us, the whole purpose of this show is to get you thinking.
Right.
It's not for him to give you all the answers. It's for you to get in the right directions, for you to see something is not exactly right with the picture that's going on every day. So we hope you go out, tell people about this show, this series that just played. Go through it, get the things he talked about. He gave you a lot of information, a lot of ways to eliminate some debt. So I appreciate you guys. And look, I was supposed to announce a winner for the free car repair giveaway that we are having, the Star System's having. So I'm going to postpone that, even though I already have the winner, but I'm just not going to announce it quite yet. I'm going to wait till next Thursday, and y'all tune in, and we will announce the winner then, and we'll let everybody know, and we'll have that person. If we get a chance, we're going to bring that person on the show and actually have them talk about their experience of getting their car fixed and everything like that. So we appreciate you. Thanks a lot. Tune in next Thursday, but I don't know what we're going to be talking about, but it's going to be great. I guarantee it. If it ain't, talk to Al. All right, y'all. Appreciate it. Y'all be safe. We
Everybody
out.
be safe.